Joy Prime as well. You know, when I take a seat like this, it means I have somebody amazing, to talk to. Yeah, somebody whose story will inspire you, encourage you, and probably you get to learn a thing or two. And today, I have one such wonderful guest in my seat. Yeah, a very hard-working brother whose rise through Ghanaian politics and leadership can best be described as meteoric. Yeah, owing to the fact that he has always pursued excellence all along the way. For over 17 years, he has promoted public policy, youth engagement and proper governance and whatnot. And today we get to delve into his life. It's been a colorful one, even more so in the past couple of days because he's been celebrating 3 years at the helm of a very, very strategic organization. Yes, one that has been transformed by his leadership and all. I'll tell you about him now. But in the meantime, tell a friend to tell a friend. Personality Profile is on. They should get a drink and sit down and watch it on socials as well or something because they will totally enjoy this conversation. Let me tell you about this brother of mine. He's a product of St. Augustine's College, one of the best schools in Ghana. One of the, you understand? There's Presec, there's St. Augustine's, you know what I mean?
Arguably.
And you actually said arguably. And of course, the University of Ghana, Legon, where he nurtured his love for politics. His love for education has led him to acquire many more certificates, including an LLB, an LLM in the professional legal practice, a graduate diploma in law from the University of Laws, United Kingdom. And he was called to the bar, the Ghana bar, in October 2023. He's a barrister at law. Yeah. From 2017 to 2021, he served as the board chairman of the Youth Employment Agency, YEA. And in August 2021, he was appointed Director General of the National Lottery Authority, NLA. A year later, the Chief Executive Network also awarded him the overall Public Sector CEO of the Year 2022 and at the 7th CEO Summit and Excellence Awards. In 2014 as well, he was among the 50 people named by the Paris-based Africa Report magazine as one of the top 50 rising stars. Yeah. He's a former national organizer, a former national youth organizer, and a former deputy communications director of the New Patriotic Party. In the last couple of weeks and the events, if the events in the Kapim North are anything to go by, he could actually be the next member of parliament for that constituency. Yeah, Mr. Samuel Awuku. You know him as Semi Awuku. Yeah, he's my guest on Personality Profile today. Welcome, brother. Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you.
You're looking well.
Well, we try to keep fit.
What is it? Just keep fit, or is that secret potion you take every morning?
If someone ever told me that someday I was going to be 40, I would have doubted it. I think 40 comes with taking a second look at everything.
Is it?
Everything.
But you don't even
look
look
at your
at
diet, your everything, and keeping fit, keeping active. So
I hear you have a secret potion you take every morning. Is it the honey or the milk?
I think it's more of the ginger tea.
It's the ginger tea rather.
Yes,
because
ginger tea.
when you look good and fresh, I'm like, okay, that
Like this, I
what's the
try.
secret,
So I have
man?
this friend of mine who goes like, "You never under pressure. Anytime I see you never under pressure." I said, "We soak the pressure. We move."
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
we
We move.
move.
I
We
mean,
move.
it
We
is what
move.
it is. It
We
will
move.
definitely
We
happen.
move.
So why not?
Boys for manage.
No, but I'm
Yeah.
really proud of
I'm
you. and I
excited
say
to also see you.
congratulations as
Thanks
well.
so much.
You just celebrated 3 years at the helm of the NLA,
That's true.
and I'm sure you're really excited about this.
Well, I am, but it's also clear that it's the beginning of the end of the tenure. Because hopefully, and all things being equal, when I'm elected, God willing, as Member of Parliament for the good people of Ekapim North, I may not be able to serve as Director General. So, 3 years, yes, it's been a cocktail of tragedies and triumphs, successes and challenges. But in all this, the covenant-keeping God has kept his covenant with us. So, Ayara, we
You
tried.
say tragedies, really?
Yeah.
I mean, from outside, I would think that it's been so glorious and just smooth.
You know, there's this guy, this Nigerian musician. I love his song so much. Forgive me, I have a humor side.
No, you're
I think
very
they call.
fun.
I always want to get the name right, whether Asake or
Ashake.
Ashake or
Yes,
whatever.
Ashake.
Ashake's song is Lonely at the Top. It's Lonely at the Top. Regardless of, leadership comes with its own challenges. There are times that my staff will tell you, they close at 5. but their director general closes around 11. Because it's after they've left that I need to sit down, go through the document they've brought. Because daytime, people will come with all manner of complaints, their stories, solving management issues, staff issues, and all. So when they've left, that's when you get to really work.
Yeah.
And also, I then reflect on what has occurred in the course of the day.
Yeah.
The good, the bad, and the ugly, and what could be better for the following day. So whilst they are retired, and that is when maybe possibly the next part of my day begins. And so it's been interesting working with people of different shades. Yeah. And I'm also one of the early birds to get to work. They tell you that their DJ gets to work at 7.
Wow. And even when he closes at 11 p.m.
And there are times I close at midnight because I won't deliberately get it wrong. And I know I won't always get it right.
So it's safe to say you are sleep deprived?
Well, sometimes, but anytime I see my bed, I get excited.
But it's an opportunity to connect. You know, you sleep the least, but you look good like all the time. How is this possible? I mean, where do the gene doctors do this?
Like the interesting aspect is that you can't have it all.
Yeah.
And so when I have an opportunity to sleep, I sleep.
Right.
But that's when that opportunity comes.
What's the best thing about the period that you've been at the NLA as DJ?
The people. And I love them back. You know, when I got in there, when the president was sending me there, it was, you know, I didn't know jack about that space.
Oh, you didn't know much about the lotteries industry?
I knew nothing.
Oh, I see.
I knew nothing.
And yet you still accepted it?
I took about 10 days to really read about the NLA, the reviews and all that. But when the president's marching orders was quite clear, he said, Mr. Man, there's an opportunity for you to make everybody proud and make yourself proud. It's a big stage, and I know you can do it. But he also said, remember, this is public office, and there will one day be accountability. When I left the president's end, these words echoed. I sat down and needed to profile the NLA from afar. I needed to learn about what they do, these people. And I was coming from a heavily political background. I was a 7 national organizer of the ruling New Patriotic Party. And I knew that if I go there purely with a political mentality, it won't work. Because the people there are from different shades. But you need to also bring them together to achieve success. So basically, my sense was that the initial statement would determine the direction the organization was going to go. So then day one was the 9th of August. I entered the premises with some 2, 3 aides, visited department by department, wanted to introduce myself to them. But I was very clear. I told them, I'm not here to inherit people's enemies, but I'm here to make new friends. So if you want to make a new friend, come along, come with me, and let's go on this journey of the NLA from where we are to the next success story. And I also told them at my first staff deba that I'm not here to pretend to you that I'm neutral when it comes to the Ghanaian political space. I'm heavily political. I've been a party's deputy communications director. I've been the youth leader of a party. I've been a national organizer of the party. But I told them that the president brought me here not to form another political party or to make it an extension of our political party. But he brought me here to partner with you, the NLA management and staff, and together with the board to increase revenue. But I also told them that don't lose your political sense. If you belong to the NDC, no worries. 8 to 5, let's raise revenue for Mother Ghana and for ourselves, because the NLA is not a subvented agency. We raise revenue to pay ourselves and to pay into consolidated fund, and then to also pay for our corporate social responsibility. Then I said, after 5 p.m., you can carry the biggest umbrella to President Mohammed's office or residence and then continue. And then, homeboys or homegirls, if you happen to be MPP, 8 to 5, let's raise revenue. Don't come talk to me about politics. But after 5 p.m., let's meet at the party headquarters or where we can talk our politics. So 8 to 5, I don't want to hear sounds of politics. And let's work together. Strangely, when I got there, the staff were divided along, party lines, cabal, this, that, and people were judged based on the regime that brought them, not based on the content of what they put out. So we needed to start with a staff bonding exercise. People were normally not looking forward to the next day coming to the office. The morale was down. So with the month of September and October, we embarked on team bonding exercises. We had customer service week a month and all that. The participation was huge. We could play football together. We had entertainment nights together. Things that could bring us together for us to see ourselves as family. So that what affects Lexis affects me. It wasn't a matter of between us and them, but about us. So that journey for me was the beginning of our rise again from what I met them. And 2022 was a remarkable year. The NLA turned 60. 60 years before, the first president of the Republic, Osadefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, pressed the first winning number at the NLA to produce the first winner when the NLA was birthed. 60 years after, the then sitting President Nana Akufo-Addo also pressed the first winning number. So President Akufo-Addo was a special guest of honor, and for the first time in the NLA's 60 years history, they had the president of the World Lottery Association, the vice president of the World Lottery Association, the Secretary General of the World Lottery Association, the President of the African Lottery Association, all converging to celebrate the NLA at 60. And in the World Lottery Association journals and reviews, it's one of the most well-organized events up to international standard. And we had visitors of almost about 100 coming from Europe, from North America, and from the other countries on the continent. So for me, 2022 was amazing. 2023, the NLA also achieved level 2 of responsible gaming. When I came in, it was basically level 0 or 1. Then the NLA2 has now been admitted into the European lotteries as an observer, which is remarkable. So giving the NLA an opportunity to assess almost 70 countries that are within the Schengen and outside the Schengen zone. For the NLA to get an opportunity to attend programs, participate in conferences, and for the NLA to be recognized as a member with observer status anytime the European lotteries meet. I'm happy I've been able to reconnect them to the World Lottery Association, to reconnect them to the African Lotteries Association. When I came in, the NLA had been kicked out of the African Lotteries Association. And today we've redefined the lottery. There are two significant things that for me, I'll be walking out of the offices of the NLA when my time is up, and I'll say we made it. And that is reviving the Caritas platform. The Caritas Lottery platform was not initiated by me. It was initiated in 2012. But between 2016 and 2020, they produced virtually less than 10,000 cities. I think the interface between the NLA and corporate Ghana, the relationship had strained. Corporate Ghana were no longer coming to the NLA to be regulated. They were finding ways and means to operate. And two big giants, Ghana's Ghana and MTN, they had not operated on our platform for over 4 years. These are big players as well. So I revived the Caritas platform in October 2021 with Madam Chief of Staff, Madam Akosia Fremont-Pare, the then Deputy Minister for Finance, Honorable Abnal Siasare, the Minister of State for Finance, then Charles Edubuan, the Deputy Attorney General, all coming together, together with the Ivorians. The Ivorian Director General, who is the President of the African Lottery Association, to help us revive the Caritas Lottery platform. And then I had to provide a nexus. if you look at the Act 722, it enjoins the National Lottery Authority to provide as part of its duties to conduct a special lottery with the sole aim of providing care, support for the poor, the vulnerable, the physically and the mentally afflicted. I realized the NLA did not have a properly constituted charity arm of its operations. And so, what that meant was that I saw that as a very serious defect, because lottery is about good causes. And because many people do not win at the end of the day. But when they do not win, where does these proceeds go? So I had this discussion with the Ivorian Lottery boss, who happens to be the one who has provided me with great support ever since I became Director General. And he said he was going to help us set it up. The Ivorians have what they also call Good Causes Foundation. And they have footprints in every town in Ivory Coast, where they've built their toilet facility, a school, a hospital, whatsoever. So through diplomatic talks and all with them, the Ivorians also helped us to set up what we now have today as the NLA's Good Causes Foundation, which has touched in excess of almost 1 million lives within the last less than 3 years.
That's impressive. And looks like you've talked a lot of
supported
successes.
Schools, supported poor but needy students, and all. And I tell you, the Ivorians provided a seed money of $60,000 to set up the NLA's Good Causes Foundation.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Very, very impressive.
Wow.
And I don't take this for granted at all.
You know, in my conversations with some of the staff of the NLA, I think one of the things that they're also very excited about is the fact that salaries were upgraded a little bit under your
well,
tenure.
not a little bit. So let's say,
little bit.
When I got to the NLA, let's say the least paid person was a ground operator. Those who clean our compound and those sweepers and all. And they were taking, say, 700 cedis. That was the minimum. But today, that JHS graduate or SHS person that would normally be employed as a ground operator now takes not less than 1,600 cedis at the NLA within the 3 years. And that I've been there. I gave every staff an automatic promotion when I got in there. So that put them one grade up. Then took my time to now address the gaps in there. So the senior staff, those who were taking around 2,000 or so, now some take around 4,000 to 5,000. So those who were taking 5 around the 8, the 9. So I've done my bit.
That's impressive.
And then again, this year as well, we've also, to cushion them, we've given them 20% salary increment, which started in May last year. We gave them same salary increment with what we call COLA, cost of living allowance, to support them during the pandemic and post the pandemic time. So they're enjoying.
Director General.
They are trying. And then we've been having some good entertainment.
I see some of them now and they are smiling. It tells a very, very interesting story. You know, they will tell you it's not courteous to be eating and talking. Yes. But they deserve it because they've also stood by the organization. We've had our own challenging and difficult times. And I believe that the essence of leadership is also to give back to the people in their darkest hour. And one thing that I hope to leave with them before I leave is a scheme of service that will properly outline their various roles and what comes with it, so that promotions will not be at the discretion of the Director General or a director, and to help reduce the essence of chronism, favoritism, nepotism, and so on. So once the scheme of service, which we receive approval from the board, and it's going to commence in the month of August, it will take about 2.5 months to produce it. Then they can have a scheme of service that guides them into the future. Our aim is to build a world-class lottery system with a blueprint for Africa. And I know that my successor, and again, I was also elected vice president of the African Lotteries Association. Are you serious? Wow, congratulations.
And I was elected in absentia. This was in March. Because the same day that the voting was taking place in Morocco, in Marrakesh, also Marrakesh or Casablanca, no, in Marrakesh. That same time, the Maltese president was in Ghana, and he was visiting the NLA because Malta founded NLA.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so even though I was away, I was communicating and campaigning via WhatsApp and phone and all that, reaching out to people. So I was elected vice president, the first Anglophone person to have been elected vice president into the African lottery, because it's 95% dominated by the Francophone.
Okay.
So you need to.
This is quite impressive.
You need to engage them. You need to engage them. You need to trade off, and then for them to see the essence of. So, even though I will leave, it's about 2 to 3 year term. I will leave less than halfway through my tenure. But whoever succeeds me, I will hold the person's hand and campaign for the person to be able to take over from me. Because if the person goes on his own or her own, the person will make it.
Yeah.
Because you'll be new to the association.
So you need a bit of a...
You don't know the DJs there, and it's a mafia, it's a cabal.
Is it?
Yeah. It's like football.
Wow. Interesting stuff. Now, in this period, what have you learned about yourself?
Well, the essence of being patient and having an opportunity to listen and appreciate people. You have people coming to you with all kinds of things. And interestingly, those who made me successful at the NLA, my colleague management members have been helpful. The board, these are my superiors. But those that made me successful were the junior staff and some of the senior, but predominantly the junior staff. They've lived through the system. They had seen the ills in the system. And they come to you when everybody has left. So I think they were scared of owning up when they want to point out some few things to, because I was new. So what some of them used to do was to drop notes by my vehicle.
Okay.
About 5, 6 times. DG, when you come tomorrow, go look at this place. This blah, blah, blah happens. Okay. DG, go have a look at this place. DG. So I was always making surprise visits to some officers. And I was able to identify some few gaps and loopholes in our system. And I owe my success to the NLA to them. And if to win the CEO of the year overall in the public sector back-to-back in 2 years with the lottery, it tells a story that people have helped to put us there. We're not counted amongst the corporate people. But now it's part of the ish. You know?
Okay, good. Now, what about your upbringing? What kind of upbringing would you say helped you to excel in this role?
Well, I have 4 sisters, Gertrude, Doreen, Jemima, Mavis, and myself.
The only boy?
The only boy.
Who came last?
Who came last? The last one as well.
Do you think it was your dad trying?
It was actually my 3rd sister who named me Samuel.
Oh, really?
Yes, and I think those times my parents I think their intention was to have a boy and a girl.
Okay.
So after the first 2, and these were 2 girls, Daddy decided to give another shot, and then it was a girl. And at that time, we're not too sure. Mommy had given up. The old girl had given up on the prospect of a boy.
Yeah.
And so they said, Akabako. Then the 4th one to became a girl, maybe. And to me, I was a coincidence. And I think I would say I wouldn't say I was a product of a try and error, but some way, somehow, I came to as the final chance.
The final one.
Yeah, the final one.
Oh, now we have a boy, we're done.
And then,
before you actually continue that story, is it just me or this has been replicated in your life?
This is an interesting one. So, so finally a boy came and it was Samuel. So my 3rd sister, Jemima, said that whilst my mother was pregnant, said, if it should be a boy, we should call him Samuel. Okay. Meaning God has heard. And so Samuel came to, and then I went to Legon, and another friend shortened the name to Sammy.
Yeah.
So that's how come it's Sammi.
Yeah.
A fancy friend of mine. I don't know. The name they gave me to enter Legon was Samuel. I ended exiting Legon with Sammy
Awuku.
like it's a compound name.
Yeah.
But so in my life too is another story of that one is 3 girls and a boy.
But it's the same format, isn't it?
The same format.
Because you had 3 girls.
Akabako, no.
Oh, Akabako.
No. I'm saying that same format. You are right.
Yes.
Then he became a boy.
Yeah.
So.
But were you personally looking for the boy? Because first one was a girl.
I was indifferent.
You were indifferent.
I was indifferent. The girls are also sweet though.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean they give you a hug every morning.
Oh yeah.
And then I quite remember my second daughter during COVID. One time, I think she woke up. I was still home. COVID, everybody was home.
Yeah.
She said, "Hey, Samuel, today you are home. You fear coronavirus, so you stay home with us." You know, and I couldn't imagine that a little one could, but it shows how these kids now have. So I have Joanna, I have Zanetta, I have Adele, and I have Nathan. Great. Okay, so now let's get to you growing up with girls. Yeah. These are very...
Is there a certain value that you probably picked from that? And do you think it would have been different if you had a brother?
Well, many of my friends too were guys. One thing that living with sisters that I saw, which I still see in my home now, because I have little, it's every day, either this one has taken this one's dress, this one wore this one's shoes, or this one this. So when there's conflict, it's not monetary or financial. It's about this one wearing this one. So I think it was based. But one thing that I also learned about them is their empathy. And even when one does something wrong and you lash the other, the one who came to report to you now ends up fighting you for lashing the sister. I find it weird. And growing up, I saw the same to among my sisters, but it's the solidarity that I see among girls. And that's the same thing I see. I'm not saying you don't see that among guys, but it's much more pronounced among girls. And, it defines who they are. It defines who they are. Yes, they can be vulnerable, but today I also see a very interesting trend, Lexis. You attend many speech and prize giving days, and you'll be amazed to see that the girl child walks home with more prizes than the boy child. I don't know if I'm the only one witnessing this, but I've attended about 10 in recent times, within the last 2 years. For me, I think the pioneers of educating the girl child, the likes of Her Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo Agyeman Rawlings, Madame Christine Churcher, the late Gladys Asma, Madame Sherry Aite, of blessed memory, and all those who were part of the considerable movement to educate the girl child. I think today they should be proud of themselves. Because the girl child today is able to compete fairly, and sometimes even better than the boy child. So it's also clear that the boy child and those of us who are males, we should have a way of encouraging the guys to come up.
How much of a hold did your sisters have on you?
Well, not much, but...
Did it play a role in the choice of wife?
No, not at all. But, if they don't like the person, they'll have a way of eyeing the person and being conversational.
Oh, you experienced some of that?
Oh, yeah, it happens. You say you brought some home before. So when you look at the optics, and when you bring a new one home, and the optics, you know that then this one can stay.
Okay.
Yes. So they are on very good terms with my wife as well. And
you grew up in Koforidua?
Yes.
For a little bit?
Not a little bit. So I had my formative years there. And interesting, there was a nursery school. I'll tell you an interesting story. It's a nursery school in Koforidua called St. Mary's Nursery School. My wife also attended St. Mary's Senior High School.
Okay.
So sometimes I don't know if I'm an old student of St. Mary's at the nursery level or I'm a patron of the, but that notwithstanding. So that's going up. So I attended my basic school there with the experimental, and then from there before I moved to the St. Augustine's. But You know, for every Ghanaian, many Ghanaian middle-class families, my family also experienced its own fair share of challenges growing up. My mother was a teacher. She taught for 40 years.
Oh.
And before I even come to that, that question you asked earlier of how much hold my sisters had, I think they inspired me. Because if you have sisters who were climbing up the ladder, and I would dovetail that into the story of growing up and some of the challenges. If your big sister is able to get out of the situation at home, and then she breaks into it and attends the O-level, A-level. Those challenging moments, I had to sometimes be selling this pure water to help the family. In fact, my fourth sister and I, Mavis and I, were those who suffered the most. Why? Because we all have to be supporting, selling things on our heads and all that, so that number one can go through.
Yeah.
Number one breaks through. The second one, those of us following, must support the second one to also go through. The third one, the same. When it got to my turn, there was nobody behind me. So I had to work times two. But I was excited that the girls were breaking through the glass ceiling, attending Holy Child, attending university. And so I couldn't have gotten it wrong. And I had to also learn hard, go through the mill, and then got admission into St. Augustine's. And the Abyssinians out there, Absu also changed my life.
Is it?
Yeah, St. Augustine changed my life. Look, I had one of the great moments there, and it's a great college. I realized that this was a college with no wall, but had a school gate. And so it was at the discretion of the housemaster to determine which one meant you have broken bounds or not. And so, and I was that witty at that time. I was slim and cute.
Okay.
So I knew how to swerve scrubbing. But I knew anytime I was caught, the punishment was defined. So once the rising bell is told, and they say, where the Form 1 boys, they had a very good, interesting senior called Senior Saka. And where the Form 1 boys, they can't line up. Where's Samuel Awuku? You know, wake up. Because they would always punish me at midnight till 1 a.m. Because I was in the seniors dormitory. We were only two, myself and a friend called Kafi Kluche. Kafi I haven't seen in a long while, like almost 20 years. I haven't seen him. But the two of us, you know, we were admitted in 1999. Okay. So Kafi and I had a slogan. We said 1999, do or die. Because every day it was a kneeling down matter. Every day. I mean, this was non-negotiable. So they will punish you till like midnight, 1 a.m. So when the rising bell is played, I won't hear it. And when they come to wake you up, your colleague they down, you know, see him. Samuel Kushank 1 to 5. So me, I was always either scrubbing the toilet or the pavement. So days that I was able to wake up early, I won't waste my time for us to be lined up. I'll just gather my tools and head to the toilet to go and scrap, because I know that, look, it was a standard operating procedure for me. And then, but I had great moment there, and the seniors loved it. Now, anytime I see some of my seniors, it brings back those fond memories.
But you got into Legon, and some way, somehow, I mean, the quiet Samuel Awuku that really was unassuming became very popular because you wanted to get into student leadership. Yes. Was that where your love for politics started? No.
It was at a very early age. So my late grandfather was one of the founder members of the MPP, late lawyer Duamankwa. And I remember staying with him at a point. I could see the likes of Nana Kufuor, then J. Kufuor, Kwame Pianim, Hakman Oswaldman, they come home. And then, you know, those days, they would come in, they strategize. This was before 1996. And sometimes at dawn, they would give us these posters. My grandfather would farm us out to go and paste them. Okay. That time I was in class 4.
That's clinical food, yeah?
Yes. I didn't really understand what this movement was about. But I just knew that this was my party of choice.
Okay.
So I knew no other party than the New Patriotic Party. But I also believed in the values that they also espoused. And for one funny reason, I also felt that Jerry was an interesting character. So I always asked myself, how is this guy able to always get these old guys so irritated with and all that? But for one reason or the other, the love for the politics was at that level.
Okay.
And I quite remember having this discussion with my grandfather at one point in time.
So you were all active all throughout the period?
Yeah, and I said to him, someday I want to go into politics. This was when at the age of 8 or 9, I think 9. And then he asked me a question. I think upon second thought and on hindsight, I'm not too sure I answered that question correctly. May he so rest in peace. He said, so you want to go into politics? He was climbing his stairs and I was following him. I said, yes, Grandpa. He said, are you sure when they insult you, you are ever ready to stomach it? I said, well, why not? I didn't understand the level of the insult. But now proper, you can feel it in your bones. But that comes with leadership.
Yeah.
That comes with leadership. So the love for it was from there.
Yeah.
I'd wanted to go into two professions, public service or be a pilot.
Oh, okay.
And the pilot thing, when I had challenges with my sight, because entering the aeronautics school with lenses before was always a disadvantage. If you are in there and develop an eye issue, that one you can pardon. But at the enrollment level, it was difficult. But the love, I knew that someday I'll be back to public service because I found it noble.
Yeah.
I found serving in that leadership position quite interesting. So back to Legon. The first year, the one I served, I was his campaign PA, and I tell you an interesting story today. So I was the one leading him to do the room to room.
Okay.
I will normally knock on the doors and open. I will give the brief about him and how good he is before he speaks. So I was his main boy. That gentleman today is the National Security Coordinator, Kwasmeni.
I see.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So I was his campaign aide.
Okay.
I used to paste the posters for him. His nickname at that time was Asogli. I don't know. Kodi, this one, make pressure come down. He was a great guy, So I was with him. We were posting his posters and all. Second year, then I happened to be spokesperson for one of the candidates. Because I said first year, me bo posters. Abraboni na boss here be koyeni. So my bo posters first year. Second year, dear. No. Yeah, I'm fine, chiche. So I was spokesperson for one of the SRC presidential aspirants. And that person today is the Western North Regional Minister, Rocky Obeng.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
At that time on campus, Ablakwa was then Nuke's president.
Yeah.
We're all in the same hall. And the one that I used to stay in the room to type. We type the things, we go and distribute and all. When I was in first year, was Martin J. Mensah Kosa.
Wow.
In fact, both Ablakwa and I were close to Martin.
Okay.
Martin today is the Honorable Minister for Local Government.
Yeah.
So, fast forward, that's Rocky. Unfortunately, we couldn't make it. The next year, then I said, so, first year, me bo posters. Second year, me kasa mobi. Third year, the mass mission. So, third year, I also put myself up to be elected as the president. It was a very tense elections.
I remember.
Myself and Lord
chaotic.
Hammer, a very formidable opponent, and then Nestor Yeboah, who was with the EFF, used to be with the CPP and now moved to Economic Fighters or so. Yeah. That was it was tense. After the first round, we were down with 2 or 3 of us for the round of 2.
Yes.
Myself and Hammer. Then it became violent. Became an MPP, NDC matter.
Yeah.
So that year there was no president.
There was no president, I remember that.
This was 2006.
And it became very tense,
very
so
tense,
much so that I think...
so violent. Kofi Boache at that time, I think, was the original commander also, operations. And I do recall him firing tear gas, and the camp students were running for their dear lives because the police was violent protest on campus. It was a very scary moment for some of us in our young political life. But afterwards, it was a decision-making time. Do I allow this dark past to cloud the future? Because I'd gotten to a point where moving forward in this political journey had become perilous. Flinching back and say, I give up, was an act of cowardice. And saying that no motion won't make any sense. So I just said, look, what I want to do is to do politics. And maybe this is the time for me to now understand the rudiment of it, or in-party politics. So post the 2006, 2007, when I graduated and I had my after national service, I left for the UK to work for a year with the Abbey National Bank. Today it's now Santander. Came back. We began a movement in 2008. The MPP unfortunately lost in 2008. I left back to the UK on the 16th of February 2009. And then I had a message. To go back to work. Go back to work. But then I had a message from Dr. Nana Iwefrie, who is now the MP for Efijase, Asoko in the Ashanti region, and also the chairman of the Select Committee on Health in Parliament. He said, he calls me liberal because he had also known me from the school days. Liberal, Charlie, we formed some group. Before come down, make we all work. I was coming down on a journey that I didn't know how I was going to go. And that group was the Alliance for Accountable Governance. And AFAC had notable people. The lawyer Godfrey Adame, the Attorney General today, was a key member of the AFAC. Dr. Afri, I've mentioned, Kwabena Bonfe, alias Kabila. Then you also had Kweku Kwating. These were the gurus in a DMO for Riata. We began that movement in 2009. And my job when I was brought down was to be in charge of operations. And I was charged to help move and mobilize the groundswell of support. So the first demonstration was against Atamil, so the Atada and the when Barack Obama was coming down. And then subsequently, agitator general.
And you rose through the ranks to become National Youth Organizer?
From deputy. So it was during the AFAC days. And then one day, Jacob Echebilamte was then national chairman, said, we want to make you a deputy communications director. And I worked under one of the best bosses I've ever had. And any day I love him to bits. But I call him ranking. Only few people understand the rank. Me and him. Anytime he sends me somewhere, say ranking, revert. Especially when he's not getting feedback. So Akumia, I think, guided me in communication. And he had one of the biggest influence on me in my communications life. And I owe that communication prowess to him. So Akumia, I served under him. Myself, I think John Boedu, Yabuabia Samoa, Perioku Jeto, and Olivia Korte. So then, fast forward from there, I became National Youth Organizer after my near criminal conviction of contempt during the famous election petition case.
Where you went to beg. You went to who I beg.
Because, you don't joke with Nana Noma judge. So I had to be clear in my mind. But as I stood in front of the judge, I tell you an interesting story. After they've heard my story, the lawyers pleaded on my behalf and all. The judges retired to take a decision. It took about an hour. They had no of the conference. So I called Gabi, who was seated with the petitioners, then called the late lawyer Akutuampao. So when they came to me, I said, so assuming I should be convicted, how many days or weeks will I spend in there? Said, Gabby said, Before they could give me an answer, they said, court rise. I said, God damn it, I'm in for a surprise. And at that time, I was clearing my mind that night, either I was spend it with my wife, or I was spend it in cell. So I had conditioned my mind. So when I was acquitted and discharged, somebody sent me that picture that day with what I was wearing. The person said, this was just yesterday. The person said, I think you need to frame this picture. That picture, I think anytime I'm tempted to speak against the law justices, it should serve as a reminder. So then from there, I became National Youth Organizer and became National Organizer in 2018. So Youth Organizer, I was able to help the NPP win election 2016 with serious mobilization of the youth in Ghana to produce a president. And then in 2020, I also contributed my quota as National Organizer together with the team to produce the second term of President Akufo-Addo. So afterwards, I felt I'd done my bit. President also, within the first term, took me to the YEA as board chairman. Then, currently at the NLA. So it's been an interesting journey. I've had great support from family because in this journey, if the home is disturbed, you cannot think. And I owe a great deal of gratitude to
so
my
now,
wife and the
obviously,
kids.
we are aware of the next steps. If all goes well, by
praying it goes well. We had a great walk.
Yes, I saw the field walk with Dr. Baumia.
Exactly.
And a lot of people who were supporting you. Looks like I think you said, look, 75%. You're very optimistic.
I'm going to work on that. And there's no elections as a top-up.
Yeah.
In this our game, you don't take the people for granted.
Yeah.
And I work hard for every vote, not just for myself, but for my presidential candidate.
Okay.
It's only when he wins, I win.
Okay.
Make no mistake, Article 58, 59 of our Constitution is an executive presidency. And so you can also bring prosperity to your people when you have a leader that you can partner with. So now, I work for myself and work for him.
Let's talk about the government.
Yes.
In the past 8 years, right?
Yeah.
What do you make of the performance of your government?
Well, I think that the strength, the greatness of the NPP was seen in its first term. And I say this because we came in at a time, even though it was under an IMF economy, it didn't stop us from introducing our major flagship programs, like the free SHS, that today I am still convinced that it's one of the biggest social interventions ever by any government in sub-Saharan Africa. Because that is at a goal, automatically giving both the rich and the poor an opportunity to sit in a classroom. And so in spite of the challenges of the IMF economy we inherited, we were able to introduce that. Then also started the 1D1F. Then started this, that's the industrialization drive. Then procured ambulances across the country for every district to operate. So Ghana was was taxing to take off again. And then unfortunately for us, we were struck with a deadly pandemic that nobody could envisage. And like this, maybe people sometimes underestimate the cruelty of the pandemic. But to make it more graphic for you, it got to a point you couldn't shake your own brother's hand. I mean, it's not fiction. People couldn't congregate in church. Even when it was lifted, they said 25 or 50 people had to go. And almost everybody became a medical doctor by wearing face masks. I watched CNN pictures and it's still fresh on my mind. London under lockdown. Streets of New York deserted. Places where people, it's like an everyday thing. And back home in our country, people were scared to even step out. At that time, the government had a choice, either to protect lives or to protect the economy. And governance is about choices. Donald Trump, like this at that time, took a decision to protect the economy. it had its consequences. Millions of Americans died. And I have a friend who works at a hospital in New York. He says, Sammy, every day waking up to go to work was a nightmare because 100 people were dying through my hands minimum every day. And so we're always calling the next track to come for it. So that was a decision the government of America took. Here in Ghana, we needed to also make a decision. The president was clear in his mind that we will protect human lives, but we can rebuild the economy again. That had its consequences. It meant that you have to break the vote at the bank to be able to take care of your people. In Nigeria and South Africa, salaries of workers were not being paid because they were not going to work. But in Ghana, we needed to be paying them every day, every month, even though they were at home. Educational facilities were completely on its knees. The only thriving sector was the health sector because human beings were there. So this should give you a sense of where we were. And to make it more graphic, vessels coming into your country had to be docked at a point for 2 weeks with the hope that if they were carrying virus, you could have died at a point. You were no longer exporting, you were no longer importing. The only imported goods were medical equipment. So your economy was at a standstill. Whatever you had gathered was what you were using to take care of your citizenry. So that's something, the greatness of the NPP.
Okay.
So that first 4 years still produced results of the NPP being able to have some factories taking off, these ambulances, this free SHS, this one, D1F, this one district, one warehouse, and all. Then fast forward, post 2020, it was now that we're beginning to have the post-COVID effect. Just when we're coming out of it, we also had another senseless war breaking out in Eastern Europe. I didn't know if this Russia-Ukrainian war had not happened. I never knew that Ukraine was such a pivotal country in the distribution of grains and the production of grains.
Okay.
And the global supply chain of fertilizer was also completely disrupted. That will definitely affect your agricultural sector. I'm not making excuses, but these are things that...
These are facts that we are all aware of.
That notwithstanding, I believe that the second term hasn't been easy for us.
It hasn't.
It hasn't been easy for us.
Obviously,
but we've been able to knit together as a country. We haven't experienced what is going on in other countries because
Ghanaians
we
are
understand
aware of these challenges that you actually mentioned.
But these are not fiction.
No, absolutely not. I mean, we're aware of all the challenges that came with COVID, with the wars and whatnot. But someone would say that many years after, a lot of economies have recovered. A lot of people are now thriving. We haven't so much. And that's how come in the past couple of months, you would hear people complain about, the state of the country.
I think we've turned the corner.
Cost of living and all of that. Do you think that at this point, where we are now, Ghanaians believe the NPP can continue in the next term and deliver better governance?
So it's about scrutinizing the alternative. First of all, I also will reject the fact that we are not coming out in terms of the shackles of what we were in 2 years ago. Quick indices. If you check even inflation last year, it was around 53%. Today, inflation is around 22. So meaning that you've gone down half in terms of how things were, the prices of goods were galloping. Again, you took a hit too with your exchange rate, but now you can see that it is gradually coming down and stabilizing. I also want to believe that the determination of this government to rebuild this economy is something that gives me comfort and gives me hope. But to your question as to whether the NPP will still be the best option to hold on and to continue to deliver economic prosperity, I think on any day I would choose the NPP over the NDC in terms of the governance. Not because I'm a party activist or I'm a parliamentary candidate, but there are records to compare. I believe that what we have started today, let me give you a typical example. President Kufuor in 2006, the free maternal care policy that he introduced during his tenure, that enabled the women to be able to deliver safely and for free. Those products were the first group of students to have been enrolled under Kufuor's free SHS. If you take a shot into the future. If the NPP had continued in 2008 when Kufuor left office, today we wouldn't have been talking free SHS, would have maybe started in 2009. We wouldn't have been talking about 1D, 1F because we would have started that, let's say, in 2012. Would have gone far in terms of our nation's development. Nobody can convince me of one major social intervention policy that was introduced by an NDC administration that caught up with every Ghanaian home. So yes, the challenges are there, but that is why leaders are elected.
Okay.
And I believe that the reason why I'm convinced Dr. Bawumia will do well and will make a fine president is also because he's had the opportunity of seeing the good times, the challenging moment, and decisions that had to be made to also turn a corner. Okay. Now, where we are, any recalculation for us to go back again will mean another lost opportunity for 4 years, or let's say 8 years, or for whatever years. Then the NPP comes back again to fix a mess and to now set Ghana back.
Interesting stuff. Anyway, let's talk about, as we wrap up, I just want to know what's the biggest lesson you've learned in life this far?
Well, people. I've seen betrayal. I've seen, people that you expect much from them. They end up not, I just want to choose a word. They end up not even sometimes recognizing that you also made effort. Again, I've also in my life now come to a point where nothing surprises me because the moment you allow things to surprise you, you always be disappointed.
Yeah.
So I have this mentality where you have to have it at the back of your mind that it's a human thing. And don't take away the human factor.
Okay.
And so I don't blame even people I work with, people I move with, when they disappoint me.
Okay.
Because I feel that then
They're just being human.
They are just being human.
I get it.
So once you're able to have that at the back of your mind, you have to keep pushing. Okay. And for me, one thing that I've also learned, that every setback should be a setup for a comeback to glory.
That's an amazing one.
Yeah.
Perfect way to wrap up the conversation. Every setback
is a setup
for a comeback.
For a comeback to glory. Because the moment you give up, maybe the next shot would have given you that opportunity. And for me, anytime I see a young person also succeeding, I celebrate it as another young success.
Well,
I love to see
today
people going up, people rising. And it gives me the inspiration that someday the charcoal seller's son can also wear white shirt.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Look, today we celebrate your success as well. Congratulations. Thank you so much for spending time with us here on Personality Profile. You have an amazing story, and I'm glad we got to share it. It's only unfolding. And I'm very sure in a few years as well, we'll be seeing you on the campaign platform.
Yes, sure.
And President Awuku.
Well, that one, now let me be MP. I don't get the vim yet. Let me be MP. I don't get vim yet. Okay. But the insult, that's why I said my grandfather's question. I'm not sure I answered it well. Because then some of the insult can go in.
Really?
But aside that, I think just before you go, one of the things that I cherish friendship over the politics. And I have lots of friends. From media space, from the politics, the political dividers, and I love to see, to witness another success story of a young person, whatever the field of endeavor is. Because why? It gives me the inspiration that someday I can also get out. And let me say thank you to my wonderful family, my wife and little ones who are glued to your set to listen. They've been a good backbone. Nice. And to my old lady and my old man. And to my sisters and their family. Look, you can't take away the family factor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Once they give you the peace of mind and the encouragement, because you have a low moment. There are times that I've had that low moment. There are times that I've shed tears. But in conclusion, anytime I'm down, the moment I step out of my room, I say to myself, I don't want the world to know I'm down. So that's why I always wear a smile. Sometimes I'll be having a bad day, but that smile maybe will be that infection to also encourage somebody.
Somebody out there.
So as human as I am, I go through very low moments. I have my downside. But once I step out of my room or my vehicle, I say to myself, the world shouldn't know I'm down.
Samuel.
Lexis Bill. The pleasure has been mine.
Oh, man. I'm not sure you remember the last time somebody called you Samuel, huh?
Okay, occasionally, I have some very crazy friends. Anytime they call me Samuel, then that means I've done something wrong. But today, I think personality profile, I haven't done anything wrong.
No, you haven't.
This is no Samuel. And there's no contempt in the offense. And then thanks so much to Multimedia. You guys are doing a great job, and to your team here.
Thank you so much.
Hey guys, keep on tuning into Personality Profile.
That's
Get to hear plenty stories.
Yes,
and to my vandals out there,
Charlie,
charge. Hold your balls and charge. The next time I'll sing some few songs, so it's fine.
X-rated, huh?
I'm
Lexis Bill. It's the Personality Profile with the Director General of the National Lotteries Authority, NLA, Mr. Sammy Awuku. Thank you so much for staying tuned in. Of course, on behalf of my team, we're grateful that you shared the time with us. Next week, we're back with another wonderful conversation right here.